Hey, can I tell you a secret? The secret to getting a great shave without any nicks, cuts, or irritation isn't 3 or 4 blades, a soap strip, or a swivel head. It's just supporting the blade. Yeah, it's just supporting the blade. Don't let it flex or bend. That's the secret to limiting shaving irritation. At Henson Shaving, we use our 20 years of aerospace manufacturing to keep the blade from moving. It's not the coolest answer, but it's the right one. To learn more and to get 100 blades for free, go to hensonshaving.com/holiday.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
snowman standing all alone out in the middle of the garden. Indoors, the family sat round a nice warm fire. Very soon it was time to go up to bed. Up the stairs he went, two at a time. Into the bathroom to clean his teeth. Then hop, step and jump along the landing to his bed. Soon he was in bed and asleep. In the middle of the night, he woke, tiptoed to the window, and peered down at the snowman, shivering. He went back to bed, but then the clock woke him. This time, he got up and tiptoed down the stairs, feeling rather cold. He looked out at the snowman through the glass panels of the front door. Suddenly, while the boy was looking at the snowman, then he actually started to walk towards the boy. He stopped and raised his hat. Then he walked forward again, right up to the boy. And they shook hands. "Come in," said the boy. "I'd love to," said the snowman. Together, they tiptoed into the living room. The snowman thought it was wonderful. He looked at the cat sleeping peacefully by the fire and wanted to stroke it. When the cat saw the snowman, he was terrified and leapt into the air. The snowman jumped backwards and lurched into the Christmas tree, setting all the little bells ringing, the candles shaking, and the fairy wobbling. At last, it settled down, and the boy plugged it in. The tree lit up with every colour you could think of. Blues and greens, reds and yellows, gold lights and silver lights. Then the snowman walked away from the Christmas tree and sat himself down in a comfortable armchair. The boy turned on the television. There was nothing but fuzzy lines and zigzags, and it made the snowman dizzy. Then, with a start, the boy realized that the snowman was sitting too near the fire. He realized he might melt if he got too hot, so he pulled him up out of the chair and hurried him out of the room to the kitchen, which was cold and dark. The boy reached for the light switch. The snowman was curious. He wanted to switch it on himself. The snowman plodded over to the kitchen sink, and the boy climbed up and turned on the cold tap. Then the hot one as well. A big cloud of steam rose up. Steam! It was too hot for the snowman, and he backed away. He saw a cake with a tiny model snowman on it. He picked it up and smiled at it. Then he took fruit from a bowl and tried on an orange for a nose. Then a lemon, a banana, then a cherry, and then a huge pineapple. But his own tangerine fitted best, so he put it back on. He leaned down, opened the fridge, and a waft of cold air came out. The snowman loved it. For him, it was just like sunbathing. wanted to try them on. He put them on and looked into a mirror to see how they looked. It gave him a terrible fright. Next, he tried out some makeup and looked in the mirror again. He looked into the wardrobe and saw all the clothes hanging up there, and some hats. He tried one on. Then he tried on some trousers. But the braces caught over his nose. "Do be careful," said the boy. "We mustn't wake them." A perfume spray stood on the dressing table. The snowman squirted it. He liked that. He did it again. Suddenly, the perfume made him want to sneeze. He held his nose. He mustn't sneeze in the bedroom. The boy hurried him out of the room. And then he sneezed. In the boys' playroom was a music box. They wound it up and danced to it. They both collapsed onto the floor, with balloons and teddy bears all around them. "I've got another idea now," said the boy. "Come with me and look out of the window." Outside, they could see a strange, dark object. Nodding to each other, they tiptoed silently down the stairs. Out through the front door and into the open air. The dark object seemed much bigger now they were close to it, and whatever it was covered up with a big black tarpaulin. Summoning up all his strength, the boy went up and pulled it off. Standing there was a bright, shiny, new motorbike. Grabbing the snowman's hand, he pulled him into the garage. Humming away in the corner was the big, deep freeze. In a second, The snowman had jumped into the freezer, and in another second the dripping had stopped. The little boy watched him lying there, then realized that an idea had come into the snowman's head. Without warning, the snowman climbed out of the freezer, then gripping the boy firmly by the hand, began to run. Out of the garage, out into the snow, out across the lawn, faster and faster, bounding and jumping, until suddenly the boy realized that they were silently in the frozen north. They were in the middle of a great forest of pine trees, laden with snow. But somewhere ahead, they could hear music and see lights. There, in a clearing in the forest, a Christmas party was taking place, and all the people at the party were snowmen, all stronger than you could ever imagine in your life. And there, right in the middle of them, radiating good cheer and smiling from ear to ear, was Father Christmas himself. "You're just in time for the dance of the snowmen," he chuckled, and clicked his fingers. light spilled through the door, and inside they could see the reindeer which he used to pull his sleigh. Father Christmas gave the boy a lovely blue scarf as a present, and he put it on. It was time for them to go. The snowman gripped the boy's hand, and once again they started to run, faster and faster, bounding and jumping, until they were flying. They landed in the garden again, and together walked slowly to the house. The little boy shook hands with the snowman and went up to the front door. But the snowman waved, and the boy ran back and gave him a great big hug. Then the boy went indoors, and very soon was fast asleep. Next morning, when he woke, the room was ablaze with sunlight. He put on his dressing gown, ran downstairs and opened the front door. The sun felt warm on his face. The boy ran out into the garden and saw a little heap of melted snow, an old hat, a tangerine, a scarf, and a few lumps of coal. But the snowman was nowhere to be seen. He thought that the adventures of the night before had been nothing but a dream. But then he felt in his pocket, and the scarf that Father Christmas had given him was still there.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void were prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void were prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.